There are times in a game where you want to hit down the line, where you need to hit down the line. Think back quickly, what's your percentage? How many of those are in? How many are out on average? Today I'm going to talk about 3 different down the line shots. 2 of those are physical lines, 1 is a virtual line. Drill number 1 then is when we're standing on this right hand side of the court. I'm a righty. Now I did a video a while back about how as a right-handed player when I get pulled wide, the first place I look is to go down this line if my opponent doesn't slide over and cover that line. I'll put a link to that video in the description box below. Today we're going to talk about a drill going down the same line that's a little bit different than when I get pulled wide. Here's the situation for this drill. My partner is serving to the opponent straight across from me. Their return of serve comes to me and then they start running toward the kitchen line. As they're running in toward me, I may understand that they're a little bit slow and they can't quite get to that kitchen line on time. Or I may understand that in general, as I start my swinging motion, they're not a player who tends to stop, either do a jump stop or come to a halt as I start my swinging motion. And that puts them at risk. So if their momentum is carrying them toward that kitchen line because they haven't quite gotten there yet, then their ability to go left or right is limited, and that opens up this line even more. So what I want to be able to do is to put this ball just out at the edge of their reach or out past their reach, because they're not going to be able to stop and go left or right to get this ball, left in this case. And so it's to my advantage to be able to hit this shot and hit it with a high percentage. If they're a right-handed person, then this outside line is on their backhand side. Even more reason for me to be able to go down this line and do it consistently well. So all I have to do is get it out at the end of the reach on their backhand side or just out of their reach. If their momentum is carrying them toward that kitchen line, they haven't gotten there yet, and they're not a person who comes to a halt when I start to swing, they're less able to then to stop and redirect their body momentum and go over and get that ball on their backhand side. There are a lot of benefits to be able to put this ball down the line if that person is running in after they hit that return to serve. Go practice this, go drill this, get better at it, and then you'll be more comfortable using it during a game. Here's what that looks like. The second drill then is when I'm on this left-hand side of the court and my opponent is straight across from me and up on that kitchen line. I think of it as a virtual down the line shot because I still want to go straight out away from me and I want to be able to target my opponent's backhand side. I want to think of this similar to how I thought about going down the line over here to my opponent's backhand side. So I could think of this in terms of context that I just want to go down the middle, but I want to stay away from the forehand of my opponent on this side, assuming they're right-handed, and I want to go to the backhand side of the opponent straight across from me. So in that context, it's very similar. It's kind of a virtual down the line, very similar to me being over here, thinking of my opponent in front of me, where's their backhand. I want to go to that backhand side. So the mechanics are relatively the same if I'm getting this forehand shot. Instead of just thinking going down the middle, if my default thought process is I want to go at my opponent's backhand side that's straight across from me, my winning percentage may go up. Here's what that might look like. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. A little bit high. Better. Third drilling situation then, very similar to the first. I'm going to have the scenario where my partner is serving to the opponent straight across from me. Their return of serve comes straight to me. As with that first drill, if they're not quick enough to get all the way up to the kitchen line, or they tend not to come to a stop as I'm starting my swing, then they're a good candidate for me going down this line because they're not going to be able to move laterally to go get that ball if I can put it at the end of the reach or just out of the reach. I want to have drilled this so I'm comfortable going down this line if they're coming in behind that return of serve. A couple of things that are different from what we did in that first drill is I'm going to do this on my backhand side. Most people's backhand isn't as good as their forehand. So we need to drill this. We need to have some confidence that as this return to serve comes to us, our opponent is running up to the line, we see, oh, we've got an opportunity here to go down the line and catch them moving, but I need to be proficient at getting this ball across that net using my backhand side. So if I'm using a forehand over here, I've got to angle this past them. Not as easy to do. Maybe the forehand's easier, but the angle is worse. If they have their return to serve coming to me and it comes to my backhand side, it's a better candidate because this ball's a little bit wider and I have more clearance. I don't have to angle this ball by them as much as they're running up to that line. Here's what that might look like. As I was hitting those shots, I didn't talk too much about the mechanics of how to hit those shots. I already have videos for those for both the forehand and the backhand side. I'll put links to those videos in the description box below.